Yes, you read the title right. I get paid to eat food. And welcome back to my channel BespokesFood, where we discuss all things eating disorders. And I'm on a mission to help create awareness about eating disorders and how to overcome them with the help of my own experience. So today you'll be watching a couple days in the life of my job as head of food sourcing specialist, where I basically source all sorts of food products for big retailers and supermarkets around the world. So I don't think it would have been possible for me to kind of get into my role without having recovered fully from my eating disorder. Back when I was in the midst of my ED, it would have been extremely difficult to do my job. My job is literally surrounded by food. I eat, live and breathe everything food. In the past few days I actually visited Amsterdam, where they were holding one of the biggest food sourcing shows in the world, and I basically was given a task of certain products to source for and had to obviously go around this massive food show finding the best products that I thought were top quality. So let's have a look at what a day in the life looks like. So we started off with my train journey from Devon to London. I currently live quite far from the airport, so it does take a few hours to get there. Felt a bit peckish when I got there, so I had a protein bar, and obviously we got to the lounge, had some lunch. I usually get something from Pret, it's just easy, and opted for something extra sweet because it just didn't really quite hit the mark. This was rather sweet Rocky Road and this caramel slice, so I needed a big glass of water to help me get that down. We then got to Schiphol Airport, which is really big, and it took me quite a while to navigate through, and eventually waited for my bag. Whilst I was waiting, I was feeling a bit peckish, so I always have some extra snacks in my bag with me. Unfortunately, I had to rush straight to the restaurant for dinner, where I was meeting some clients. I could not video while I was there because that would have been a bit awkward, but it was a really nice tasting menu with lots of different meats and fish products. Checked into my hotel and went straight to bed for an early morning of trade show ahead of us. So starting off with the best part of the day, which is breakfast, there was this insane breakfast bar that had fresh pastries, it had granola, all the cereals that you can even imagine, even a chocolate fountain, a fresh fruit and juice bar, a whole savory selection. I was honestly overwhelmed. It was like the best thing ever. I opted for a bit of a mix of everything, my usual granola and yogurt with some fresh fruit, pastries, and of course some eggs and something savory. And even though I knew it was going to be a whole day of eating ahead, I did not skip on anything and made sure that I was fully fueled. So as you've just seen now, the breakfast buffet experience, it used to be so daunting for me. Like when I was in my ED, I couldn't handle going to a breakfast buffet. I'd feel so overwhelmed by all the different food choices. There'd be products and things that I knew that I wanted to taste, like a waffle or the chocolate fountain, or having a full English as well as having something sweet, and it was just too much for my ED brain to handle. And it's so refreshing to just be able to, go to a hotel, not know what's going to be served for breakfast, and just be able to have what my heart truly desires. And I remember when I first used to go on holiday with families when I was in my ED, and there was a breakfast buffet, I would always choose the safe option. It would be like an egg with maybe some mushrooms and some spinach, and that's not even a full breakfast. Like if that is your breakfast, that is not healthy. It's way too little. And just actually not normal. So having breakfasts which are super abundant, full of all sorts of different items, cereals, like I said, eggs or sweet savory, that is totally normal, and that is actually, it's healthy to do that now and again, and to just not restrict yourself and just always choose a safe option, because I know when you walk out you're definitely going to be regretting and having wished that you actually had something that was there that you didn't have because you were too scared to have it. It sounds super corny, but if I feel like having eggs with a pastry on the side, like who cares? I mean, it's literally free food. Well, for me it was free because my work paid for me. An experience where I get to just have as many sorts of food in one go as I want without feeling guilty. And no, I did not compensate or have any less because I knew I was going to the show a few hours later, which obviously consisted of a lot of eating and tasting. It didn't mean that I was going to skip breakfast or have something less to eat. It just meant that I was just having a normal breakfast, and if anything else, probably have more than I normally would, because there were, waffles and things that I probably wouldn't have every day in my kitchen. But it didn't mean that I was going to be scared of them and not actually enjoy them that morning. So remember, we do not skip meals or compensate ever, full stop. So check-in time at Amsterdam Trade Show Centre. It was super busy, the queue was quite a wait, but luckily I had my badge all printed and had my notes with all the suppliers that I was going to go and visit. As you can see, it's literally a big hall filled with so many food stalls. You just see food left, right and centre, and you just kind of have to just start tasting your way through the day. Started off with some guacamole, and of course there's lots of walking, so to making sure that I was constantly snacking and having something to eat along the go. And these pancakes were, they were okay, they weren't the best, but they kind of hit the mark. Can't say I'll be necessarily going ahead with this particular supplier this time. So I was feeling a bit low in energy, so I found this really cool ginger turmeric shot. It was quite powerful and strong on the throat, but it definitely kind of was what I needed at that point of the day. So you're kind of eating all sorts of weird products, going from sweet to savory, savory to sweet, no matter the time of the day. So again, Edie brain is just totally mute and quiet, doesn't care what's really happening around me. And of course, gelato. It might seem like I'm eating loads of different things in the day, but actually you get really hungry by constantly walking around. There are some products that are a bit weird and interesting, like this weird pack of, I don't even know what it was, so you kind of just have to smile and pretend that you're interested, even though it's not always the most relevant product for you. And of course, stroop waffles. We are in Amsterdam at the end of the day. So we stumbled across this really cool Asian fusion restaurant in the center of Amsterdam. We ordered a whole bunch of dishes, loads of different sushis, fresh fish. It was really just perfect for the evening. We had obviously spent a lot of the day walking around and eating all sorts of like snacks and lots of different sort of things. So it was nice to just sit down and have a full sit down dinner. Unfortunately, the weather was pretty crap, so we had to kind of walk around with umbrellas all day and almost got blown over by the wind on various occasions. Finally ended off the trip on the way back to the airport, and I started editing my video and of course doing actual work, like collating all of my leads and everything that I had to do for the rest of the trip. So as you've seen, it's quite full on. Now, I was only there for 2 days, but sometimes these shows can go on for 4 to 5 days. There's a really long one coming up in Paris later this year, which I'll be attending. And it can be really overwhelming because there's so many different products that all taste and look amazing, but you have to find the best supplier for your customer. So it does involve a lot of like conversations, chatting, understanding about the businesses to make sure that there is a good match. I also love my job because I get to travel. Earlier this year I was in Italy a few times, I was in Belgium as well, Germany, Cologne, Dusseldorf. So yeah, I'm really grateful for always being able to just travel and see new cities and obviously enjoy all the amazing food that comes with it. Okay, so after this trip I was pretty exhausted. It's usually need like a whole weekend to just recover. So this weekend I just spent chilling, relaxing and packing because we're actually moving house at the moment. So it's been quite full on either way. But yeah, you just need to recuperate and get ready for the next week of work. I don't think I've got a show anytime soon. Yeah, I think it'll be a good break. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on a day in the life of my job. It was a bit different to what we're normally going to be talking about. Not totally just ED focused, but just does show you that, you know, how overcoming my ED has allowed me to really work to the best of my ability in my job, encompassing all things food and not having any fear around it. So as always, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.